Then now we're going to maybe close this topic of intrinsic valuation with something that we call the DCF value. DCF stands for discounted cash flow. And we're going to use the same assumption that we use, the same project. In the same project, we're going to find out we're going to determine the value of the property using another method that's called the discounted cash flow. So we assume that, okay, look, we're going to operate the building for 5 years and sell it at the end of 5 years. Okay? End of 5 years, we're going to sell the property at the end of 5 years. And when selling the property, we're going to assume that, look, property are sold at 6% cap rate. That's what we call the exit cap rate. You already know what it means, cap rate. And you remember when we're talking about valuation, we said that, okay, valuation is based on the growth rate of your cash flow. We're going to assume that our net operating income is growing at the rate of 3% per year. Then our discount rate, and how much is going to be your discount rate? Our discount rate, you're going to assume that it is 8%. So one of the things also to think in terms of discount rate here is what is the opportunity you're losing for this project. If for this project, discount rate here can be determined using different method. It can be your cost of capital. Okay, it can be your cost of capital. It can be your opportunity cost. If your cost of capital, for instance, that means at maybe you want to invest with friends, with other people money, and they give you their money and they expect an 8% return. That means your discount rate is going to be 8%. You will not take anything that is lower than 8%. That's going to be the base. You're going to use 8% discount rate. If discount rate is basically your cost of capital in this case. And in other cases, discount rate could be your opportunity cost. Meaning, if instead of investing in this property, you could have invested in another property that will give you a 9% return, your discount rate is going to be 9%. So that's basically it. So your discount rate is going to be the rate at which it's going to be some sort of benchmark for you. Okay, so if I have $100,000 now at a bank in cash, and the bank giving me a 3% interest rate, that is my discount rate. That means I will not accept any, I will not remove that cash and invest it somewhere that will give me less than 3%. Why? Because the bank is already giving me 3%. Why do you want me to invest it somewhere that will give me 2%? No, it will not be a good investment. I would like to invest it in a project that will give me more than 2%. That means if I want to, if I want to invest it in a project where I expect 5% return or 5%. If I want 5% return, I may also decide to discount it at with 5% discount rate. So that's going to be up to you to decide what is your cost of capital, what is the opportunity cost you're missing here. That being said, here with the discounted cash flow method, we just need to run the planning over 5 years. Usually, when you're running your planning horizon for real estate, you don't go over 5 to 7 years. Remember the real estate cycle? Because the cycle will change over time. I've seen people running analysis for 25 years. You can't do something like that because you don't know how the economy is going to be in the 25 years from now. But 5 years from now, you may be willing to have a good sense of what the economy will be. So that means, okay, I'm planning. Today we are at year 0, right? 2022 year 0. 2023, 24, this is the first year, second, third, fourth, this is the fifth year. Okay? Then this is the net operating income. The net operating income will be growing at 3% rate. Today we have this. You remember we did this calculation. Okay? You can go back to see this. Okay? This is 149,900. We run this calculation. Then if you assume that, we assume based on the economy that, okay, look, we'll be increasing rates maybe at 5%, then expenses will also increase. Then at the end of the day, we're going to have 3% profit increase each year. Okay, perfect. So net operating income will increase by 3%. Take this, you multiply by 1.03. You're going to have this value. You take again this, multiply by 1.03, you have this value. You take this by 103, etc., etc. So that is a 3% growth rate in net operating income. That's it. Then our planning is 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then at the end of the 5th year, you're going to sell the building, right? If you are selling the building, now how much are you going to sell the building? You have an idea that, okay, look, your exit cap rate is going to be 6%. That means the sale price, including the transaction cost, we assume that, is going to be the net operating income divided by the cap rate. That means you take this. I'm going to take this. Usually you take the net operating income of the next year of the seat here. Okay? To find the value here, take the net operating income here. Net operating income here divided by 6%. Take this divided by 6%, you're going to have this value, $2.9 million. Then what's the cash flow? If you add up everything here, this is basically the same. The cash flow here is going to be 173,000 plus 2.9 million here. This is the cash flow that you're going to have. Then what you have to do now is to discount. This is a future value. You need now to find present value. And remember, in order to find present value, remember the formula I told you in the financial mathematics. And even again, you remember, go and see the slide on financial mathematics. Present value is going to be future value divided by 1 plus I to the power n. Or future value multiplied by 1 plus I to the power negative n. That's what it simply means. It means that for year 0, the discounted cash flow for year 0 here is going to be future value at year 0, that is this, plus times 1.6%. I think there's a mistake here. This is insert 8% here. Okay, sorry, this is 8%. 1 plus 8% to the power 0. Everything to the power 0 is going to be 1. So this is going to be 1 times this value here. Then you do the same thing here. At the end of the first year, you're going to take this value here. This value. You take this value here, 154,397. You multiply by 1 plus 8% to the power negative 1. It is for year 1, right? You're going to have this value. For this value here, for instance, you're going to have 168,714 times 1 plus 8% to the power negative 4, because it's the 4th year. Then you're going to have this value. At the end of the 5th year, you're going to take this value, $3.1 million, multiplied by 1.8%, or to the power negative 5, then you're going to have this value. And these are all present value. And you add up everything here, you're going to have $2.8 million. What does that simply mean? It simply means that the value of that property today, based on the DCF method, is 2.8 million. It means that if the ask price is lower than 2.8 million, I may be willing to buy that. But if the ask price is higher than 2.8 million, no, I will not be willing to buy that. And when running this analysis, even though if they're asking more than this, our bidding, the maximum bid that will be 2.8 million. If I am someone that is running the valuation based on the DCF method, I'll be willing to pay up to the maximum price I will be willing to pay will be $2.8 million based on the assumptions of this method.